milkweed, common milkweed, going back to this. If you were a butterfly flying around and you knew you had to, your caterpillars, your babies had to eat milkweed, right? You saw this plant. And if you look at the undersides of some of these, they're sticky. Some of them have black sooty mold. They're starting to yellow this time of year. It was a few years ago that we said, wow, this really looks bad. Let's cut it down. It's too gross. And lo and behold, what happens, wherever you cut it, it starts to sprout new, right? And if we pull, then this time of year, this is what you get. Really nice, healthy looking, fresh green leaves. So if you were a butterfly coming to lay an egg so that your babies had nice food to eat, which one are you gonna pick? And now this, maybe there has been a lot of research done, but for me, everything is like, I observe it. I'm like, I don't know if that's true or not, but this is what I'm noticing. And we've been cutting milkweed. In some places we were pulling it out. I said, we'll let it grow once July comes. Like pull it out until July and then we'll let it grow in. Well, it turns out where we cut milkweed and new growth came, we did find some more monarchs. However, the amount of eggs that we found, and I am talking on the tiniest, so I don't even look for milkweed that's this size anymore. I have, how many eggs did I have in here? 39? Yeah, so the other day I went out and collected 39 eggs from a strip along Turner that was, maybe 50 feet long. And the plants that I was looking for, this big. This is what I was finding the eggs on, and there's still an egg here. It's actually turning black. We might even see them hatch while we're here. I told you this is going to be an exciting one. All right, I'll show you. Where is he? I had one that was like just born. Oh, my eyeballs. He blends in with the dirt here, or with the gross background. So these guys, this is basically an egg that's about to hatch. Okay, I'll come around and show you. A caterpillar that, oops, I didn't squish him, don't worry. I should check the back before I put my finger. One that hatched probably this morning, and a couple that hatched yesterday. So this is the size. So this little black spot is the egg.
Oh, my goodness.
That and that. And then I'll come around and show you guys what 2 weeks worth of eating does. It's like my 12-year-old, my 10-year-old, and my 9-year-old, where they wake up and they have to have different clothes because they have just the little tiny egg. But I was absolutely blown away this year. This was a big aha moment. Next year, I'm gonna have the crews pull and pull and pull until mid-July. So you won't, when you come back, don't worry, where did all their milkweed go? It's coming, it's just under the ground. We're waiting. This year the monarchs were much later than we've seen them come in. So that little black dot. So when they're black like that, that means that they're gonna emerge that day. The black is their head, getting ready to chew out the top of the weird and interesting facts, I know. So that little black dot there.
Why don't they want the bigger?
Yep, so there's 1, 2, and that guy. So what they'll do, she asked, why don't they go on the bigger ones so that there's something to eat? Now, again, I haven't researched this. This is just my hypothesis. But with these little guys, they like the fresh, and they're able to eat the little fresh stuff. But the harder, with those big leaves, and the big plants have much thicker, they're harder to eat. So what they'll do is we have patches where it's bigger places and then these little things all in the front. So once they eat the first week, they're probably on these small little guys, and then they crawl over to the bigger plants, so that little black dot. So crazy. And if you are raising them, and even in the wild, so that little bitty thing.
And this one's hatched?
So that hatched probably this morning, and this guy was yesterday. This one might be yesterday, earlier on. That's how fast they grow.
So it looks like a little brown.
Like I said, I'll show you what about a week and a half of eating does here in a moment. But in the wild, they will crawl 40 to 50 feet to find more milkweed or to find when they're ready to make a chrysalis. So there's the little egg.
Oh, I see.
And I like to find them, like we go out looking for the eggs and kind of the smallest of them, because once they are bigger, then my hands are all sticky. What happens is they become exposed to different viruses and bacteria, different pathogens in the air. Where's the one I held up earlier? They've all crawled up. There are 45 caterpillars in here, all of various sizes, so you can see.
Oh, yeah.
And like the biggest ones still probably have about 2 more days of eating. There's all over in here. Yeah. So it's kind of neat. You lift up a leaf and there's all different sizes all throughout. And what I do, I have an egg in a little tiny baby section. These guys are like the teenagers. Then when they're just about to, if they're ready to leave the nest, I move them into a cage that is more vertical, and I put flower arrangements and some other milkweed in there so they can crawl to the top of the enclosure and make their chrysalids. I used to just keep them in here and let them eat, and then I found it was really hard. All the chrysalids on the top of the top of this container, I accidentally would forget and set it down, oops. So I am not the reason of the monarch decline, but it did not help. So you can see it. And this is 5 or 6 days longer than that. So to be able to see it, it's something really fun to do with kids, because you can literally measure the caterpillars every day. And if you like data and charts, this is fantastic. You want to do a graphing exercise, it's awesome. You just want to do it for fun with yourselves, it's even more exciting. So look at all of them. They're all over the place.
So why do you gather them rather than hang out outside?
Good question. So he asked, why do we gather and not let them hang out? We have donated, almost 400 to the Audubon. So tomorrow at the Audubon Center in Jamestown, Petersburg area, they're having a Monarch Festival. You can walk into a room, there's monarchs all over. And then we have these guys, so another 100, because I have more back at the shop that are in chrysalis. And the reason we gather them, when in the wild, they have basically a 10% survival rate, is what I've read and understand. By hand raising, you have a 90% survival rate. So for every, think of it as 10, you have 10 caterpillars or 10 monarchs in the wild, one of those 10 will survive. By doing this, 9 of them will survive. So just trying to increase the numbers everywhere. And it was great. The Daily did a fantastic article all about it. We have tagged. We've also tagged, we're at 29 right now. And I only bought 50 tags this year because I didn't know how many there would be. But really, I could have, out of the 400 we've donated, and we got another 100 or so, next year I might buy more. And what you do is once they come out as butterflies, we have a little sticker we put on, we write down the number, and we let them go and hope and get all excited that maybe ours will be found down in Mexico or somewhere else along the way. It'll be recorded that HEC 994, woohoo! That's who I released this morning. She's gonna make it all the way down there or somewhere. So if you, wherever you live, if you see a monarch flying by and you do see a sticker, you can note the number and you can register it. Say, hey, I saw this at this address, so that anybody who looks on the Monarch Watch can watch to see how its progress is going. Even if you accidentally hit it with your car or something, it's on your windshield. If it has a tag, still note it.
Question.
Yeah.
How often do you feed them new milkweed?
Good.
The small and large.
The small and large. I change out their milkweed. Like the little guys, they were maybe every other day. I try to go through it, but I'll transfer any that have hatched. So at the end of the day today, any that are little instars, that's what the caterpillars are called, I'll move into the big kids tent, big kids enclosure. These guys, so one caterpillar, the females will lay 1 egg per stalk. because that's what a caterpillar will eat in its lifetime. So it will eat an entire stalk. So every day, once they're getting this big, they're just mowing it. That's where they become my children. It's like, I need snacks. So I'm constantly putting in. I could like put 10 leaves in this morning and I'd have to fill it up. So this does become a labor of love this time of year on the weekends, because I have to take my babies home and then bring them back because I don't want them to run out of food on the weekends. Or if they emerge, I don't want them sitting in the cage. So my kids know that the front seat is for the Monarchs. There's no arguing. No arguing about it. Monarchs go there. But it's, you know, it's just something really fun to do, and it's a great way to make the connection. Both, I mean, I always did it when I was a kid, going out and finding the caterpillars. And you can raise, like if you want to go out and find the big caterpillars, you can bring those in too. Keep them, keeping them separated from any eggs or little babies, because then if there is any type of disease, it doesn't contaminate them. But, so that's food for monarchs. I know I told you this was going to be about food, and we talked